If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. When the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round of the NFL Draft, many fans immediately jumped to the conclusion that he was being groomed as the franchise's quarterback of the future. This was understandable given Sanders' impressive college pedigree and his famous last name, but it overlooked some crucial details. First, Sanders wasn't an early round pick. He was taken in the 5th round, which generally means a player is viewed as a developmental prospect rather than an immediate starter. Second, the Browns had already drafted Dillon Gabriel the rounds earlier, signaling that they had different priorities. Gabriel, selected in the 3rd round, was widely regarded as more NFL ready and was expected to compete for a starting role sooner. The draft positioning alone suggested that the Browns were hedging their bets rather than placing all their chips on Sanders. So, despite some fans' hopes, Cleveland's strategy seemed more cautious and pragmatic than outright commitment to Sanders as their future signal-caller. Now, heading into the 2025 training camp, it looks like the Browns' cautious approach is becoming clearer, and the news might not sit well with Shedeur Sanders supporters. According to Zach Jackson from The Athletic, the Browns are not rushing to push Sanders into a starting role, or even guaranteeing him a significant spot on the roster just yet. Jackson points out that the Browns staff is treating Sanders as a talented, developmental-type prospect, implying that they want to see how he performs and grows before making any bold decisions. This developmental approach means that Sanders will likely have to prove himself against not only Dillon Gabriel, but also the current quarterbacks on the roster. For Cleveland fans hoping for an immediate impact from Sanders, this measured approach signals patience, but also uncertainty about his short-term future in the team's offense. Jackson's insights also suggest that the Browns are keeping their options open, both internally and externally. They're not committing fully to any quarterback scenario, leaving room for multiple outcomes as they approach the regular season. What's striking here is the lack of urgency, which usually hints that the coaching staff and front office want more time to evaluate all available players. Sanders, despite his skills, is still very much in a competition with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and potentially others. This wide-open quarterback battle could extend into the season, but it also raises questions about whether Sanders is viewed as a long-term answer or simply an intriguing prospect who might or might not pan out. The lack of a clear roadmap for him makes the situation more complicated and less optimistic than some might have initially thought. Joe Flacco's position as the likely Week 1 starter adds another layer to the Browns' quarterback puzzle. Jackson estimates a 75% chance that Flacco will open the season as the starter, which underscores the team's preference for experience at the position, at least for now. Kenny Pickett, the team's other quarterback, is given a 20% chance to start, with any other outcome, including Sanders or Gabriel, holding only a combined 5% likelihood. This distribution of probabilities reveals a strong vote of confidence in Flacco's veteran presence and readiness to manage the offense, rather than betting on the relatively unproven young quarterbacks. For Sanders, this means his path to the starting job is far from guaranteed and may be more about development and backup duties in 2025 rather than a breakout moment. The odds shared by Zach Jackson also indirectly reflect the Browns' broader strategic considerations, which might include preparing for the future draft rather than rushing a young quarterback into the spotlight prematurely. There's been ongoing speculation that Cleveland is eyeing another quarterback prospect in the 2026 NFL Draft, suggesting the franchise isn't entirely convinced that their current crop of young quarterbacks, including Sanders, Gabriel, or Pickett, will be their long-term answer. This forward-looking approach might explain the team's reluctance to fully commit to Sanders or any other young quarterback in 2025. Instead, the Browns seem focused on keeping their options open, fostering competition, and giving themselves flexibility to bring in new talent down the road if none of the current players emerges. As a franchise cornerstone for Shedeur Sanders himself, this update must feel like a mixed bag. On one hand, being drafted at all is a huge accomplishment, and being viewed as a developmental prospect means the team sees potential in him. On the other hand, the lack of urgency and the clear competition he faces might feel like a setback for someone hoping to step in quickly and make a major impact. Sanders will have to navigate a challenging training camp environment where every practice and preseason snap counts. He'll need to impress coaches with his growth, adaptability, and leadership to push his case. The reality is that Sanders is still in the early stages of his NFL journey, and the Browns are giving him time to develop rather than throwing him into the deep end. Immediately. The fan reaction in Cleveland to this news is likely to be polarized. Some Browns supporters might appreciate the front office's cautious, patient approach, understanding that throwing a young quarterback into a high-pressure role prematurely can lead to setbacks. Others, however, might be frustrated by the slow progress and the continued reliance on veterans like Joe Flacco, instead of committing to a younger, more dynamic player like Sanders. Browns fans are known for their passion and impatience for success, so the uncertainty and lack of clear direction for their quarterbacks could fuel more debate and speculation. For a franchise hungry for stability and a true franchise quarterback, this news might feel like yet another chapter in a long saga of searching for the right fit under center. Another angle to consider is how this quarterback competition will affect team dynamics and morale. When a team has multiple quarterbacks competing without a clear favorite, it can create a tense and competitive environment that pushes players to elevate their game. For Sanders, competing against experienced veterans and fellow rookies could accelerate his growth if he embraces the challenge. However, it also creates pressure and uncertainty that can sometimes hinder development. The coaching staff's handling of this quarterback battle will be crucial. They must balance competition with support, ensuring that all players feel valued and motivated, while the team searches for the best possible starting option. This delicate balance will be a defining factor for the Browns' offense in 2025. Looking at the bigger picture, the Browns' approach to Shedeur Sanders and the quarterback position in general reflects a broader NFL trend where teams are increasingly cautious with developing young quarterbacks, rather than forcing rookies or young players into starting roles before they're ready. Franchises are adopting more measured, long-term plans. This often means veterans hold the reins early on, while younger quarterbacks learn and develop in the background. This methodical development strategy aims to avoid the pitfalls of rushing players and potentially damaging their confidence or growth. For Cleveland, this cautious path could pay off if Sanders and the other young quarterbacks eventually mature into reliable starters, but in the short term, it means fans should temper their expectations for immediate fireworks from Sanders. In conclusion, while the excitement around Shedeur Sanders' selection was understandable, the reality based on recent reports shows that the Cleveland Browns are taking a patient, developmental approach with their young quarterbacks, with Joe Flacco likely starting in Week 1, and the Browns keeping their options open for future drafts. Sanders faces a tough climb to earn a meaningful role. This update might be disappointing for some fans who expected him to be the franchise savior right away, but it also underscores the complexities of NFL roster building and quarterback development. For Sanders, the journey is just beginning, and his future with the Browns depends heavily on how he handles this competitive environment and seizes his opportunities when they come. The Browns, meanwhile, continue their quest for stability at quarterback, keeping all doors open as they look toward the seasons ahead. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. There's a growing buzz sweeping through the NFL world that nobody saw coming. Antonio Brown might be making a sensational return to the league, and the chatter points directly at the Cleveland Browns as his next home. Yes, you heard that right. After months of speculation and endless rumors about where the controversial wide receiver might resurface, the whispers are intensifying around the Browns organization. Brown, known for his electrifying talent and equally headline-grabbing off-field drama, has been absent from the NFL spotlight for a while now. But sources close to the situation hint that he could be gearing up for a major comeback. The Browns, who have been quietly looking to shake up their offensive weapons, seem to have emerged as the frontrunners in what could be one of the most unexpected signings of the year. Could this be the perfect match for both parties? The NFL community is holding its breath. The timing of this rumored move adds an extra layer of intrigue. The Browns have been grappling with some offensive inconsistencies, particularly in the wide receiver department. Their search for a dynamic playmaker who can change the course of a game in an instant has been ongoing. Enter Antonio Brown, a player whose talent on the field is undeniable, even if his career has been marred by controversy. Some insiders suggest that the Browns see Brown as a high-risk, high-reward type of player, one who could elevate their offense if managed correctly. With the Browns aiming to make a deep playoff push the addition of a veteran like Brown might just be the spark they need to ignite the team's potential. Imagine the possibilities if this rumor turns into reality. Sources close to the Browns' front office have been surprisingly tight-lipped, but the energy in their meetings reportedly hints at a possible shakeup. There are murmurs about scouting reports and internal discussions centered around Brown's potential fit with the current roster. Coaches and executives might be weighing the pros and cons of bringing in a player with such a complicated history, but the potential upside seems to be tempting enough to explore. Brown's experience and skill could provide the Browns with the kind of explosive playmaking ability they desperately need, especially with their quarterback seeking more reliable options downfield. This all raises the question, could Antonio Brown's return be the Browns' secret weapon in their quest for dominance? Social media has exploded with speculation as well, with fans and analysts alike debating the feasibility and impact of this potential signing. Some are thrilled at the idea of Brown putting on the Browns jersey, imagining game-winning catches and highlight reel plays. Others remain skeptical, worried about the possible distractions and off-field issues that have previously overshadowed Brown's on-field performances. Yet, the Browns appear undeterred by the noise, possibly seeing an opportunity where others see risk. The rumor mill is running wild, with insiders dropping hints and cryptic comments, fueling a frenzy of anticipation. Could this be the year Brown redeems himself and the Browns finally get the explosive weapon they've been searching for? Looking back at Brown's career, it's clear he has the talent to be a game-changer when focused and healthy. He's one of the most dynamic wide receivers the league has ever seen. His route running, hands, and ability to make difficult catches are elite, and his presence on any team commands defensive attention. The Browns' offense could become incredibly difficult to defend if Brown's rumored signing comes to pass, adding another layer of complexity for opposing defenses. This potential partnership is not without precedent. Teams have taken chances on talented, yet controversial players before, sometimes with spectacular results. Is Cleveland ready to be that team? The football world is watching closely to see if this rumor will materialize into a headline that shakes the league. Financial details of this possible move remain a mystery, but insiders suggest that the Browns could be crafting a deal with incentives that protect the team while offering Brown a chance to prove himself again. This kind of contract might be ideal for both sides. The Browns minimize risk, while Brown gains the platform to showcase his skills and potentially revitalize his career. The structure of such a deal would likely reflect the Browns' cautious optimism about Brown's ability to contribute meaningfully without becoming a distraction. Negotiations, if they're happening, are probably delicate and complex, balancing Brown's desire to return to form with the Browns' need for stability and cohesion. This rumor, while still unconfirmed, has the potential to rewrite narratives for both the player and the franchise. Rumors have also suggested that Brown has been training intensely in preparation for a possible comeback, which would align perfectly with this rumored interest from the Browns. Reports indicate that Brown hasn't lost his speed or agility, and he's been working on staying in game shape, signaling that he's serious about returning to the field. This physical readiness could be a key factor in the Browns' reported interest, as they wouldn't want to gamble on a player who isn't prepared to contribute immediately. Brown's commitment to returning at a high level could make this potential reunion a win-win. The NFL loves redemption stories, and if Brown's comeback with the Browns happens, it might become one of the most compelling storylines of the season. The Browns fan base is already divided, with some expressing excitement over the prospect of Brown's return, while others voice concerns about the potential fallout. This mix of emotions adds to the drama surrounding the rumor, reflecting how polarizing Brown has been throughout his career. Whether this move actually comes to fruition or not, the mere possibility has sparked intense debate among fans, pundits, and analysts. The Browns might be banking on the idea that the potential rewards outweigh the risks, hoping that Brown's talent can help them achieve their goals despite his checkered past. This kind of gamble is what makes the NFL offseason so thrilling. Unexpected moves that could change everything. The buzz is real, and it's only getting louder. Analysts are also considering how Brown's rumored addition might impact the Browns' offensive strategy. His ability to stretch the field and make plays after the catch could open up opportunities for other players and give the quarterback more confidence in throwing deep. This potential fit could revitalize the entire offense, making Cleveland a much tougher opponent. However, coaches would need to manage Brown carefully, ensuring that his integration into the team doesn't disrupt chemistry or focus. It's a delicate balance, but one that could pay off in a big way if handled well. This rumor is more than just talk, it represents a possible turning point for a franchise looking to break through and achieve greatness. In conclusion, the swirling rumors about Antonio Brown's possible return to the NFL with the Cleveland Browns have injected fresh excitement and speculation into the league's offseason. Whether this story develops into a reality or remains just a tantalizing possibility, it's clear that both Brown and the Browns have everything to gain and potentially everything to lose. The combination of Brown's undeniable talent and the Browns' desire for offensive firepower creates a narrative full of promise and peril. Fans, analysts, and insiders will be watching every move closely, eager to see if this rumor will explode into one of the biggest stories of the season. Stay tuned, because if this happens, the NFL landscape might never be the same. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!